Hi, Nicole. My name is Gray Johnson, and I just wanted to respond to your post from week 7 and week 8 on tip 35. I really enjoyed your post. I've said to a few people that I read through most of them, and I try to pick ones that really gravitate towards me or that I gravitate towards. One, because it's easier to respond, and then two, I get something out of it, obviously. So I just wanted to make a couple of comments. The first thing that came to my mind after I read your post was Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning, and I went and recall a quote where he said, those who have a why to live can bear with almost any how. And that's something that has stuck with me for many years. There were many years in my life where I tried to determine why I was here, and it failed to present the how I would live, and it made a lot of sense when I read that book 20 years ago. I also think that the idea of suffering is something that is so complex that there are two types of people that understand or don't understand suffering, and those are ones that have a relationship with Christ and those that don't. Even the ones that do have a relationship with Christ have a very difficult time understanding what suffering is and what it means. I could not imagine what it would be like to not have a relationship and trying to navigate through the suffering. Because as you said, we all suffer on some level with certain things. I'm reminded of Paul saying that he had a thorn in his side, and he cried out 2 or 3 times to God to take that away from him. Then he also said if it's not God's will that he would continue to suffer for Christ. Suffering is one of those things that is so complex that we are all taking, or most of us are taking graduate programs geared towards understanding trauma and suffering. And it is very perplexing to think of all of the trauma and the issues that we see that people go through. Suffering is one of those things that can't be nailed down with a simple explanation. But when somebody goes through it, they certainly understand that they've been through it. So I appreciate that your comment about change, and you said a sense that change is personally important and meaningful. That has always been the case for me, that when I have been through suffering, sometimes at my own hands, I've created it myself, it does usually present to make some changes in my life, and usually for the better. Sometimes I go back and look at things that have happened, and even though I've created those things, it has still taught me valuable lessons about how to live the rest of my life. Anyway, thank you for listening. Hope you have a good night and have a good day.